My name's Karen Guzak, and I'm happy to be here today. This is my studio, Yoga Circle Studio, which I founded in 2003. And yoga has been at the center of who I am and how I am and what I do in the world. I moved to the city of Snohomish in 2000 full-time, and then opened the yoga studio shortly thereafter. And then ran for office here, a political office, so that I could continue to do my work in the world, my yoga work in the world, as a politician. And the council has elected me mayor, and I've been the mayor for 6 years. And it's time for me to run for re-election this year, so we'll see how it goes. I feel good about it. Well, I started yoga when I was 50, so that was 26 years ago. And I came to yoga because I didn't like running. I'd injured myself doing aerobics. I didn't like competitive sports because I was too competitive and had hurt myself doing competitive sports as well. But when I found yoga, I felt immediately at home. Not only the opportunity to work my body in all the ways the body would go, but the finding yourself, finding myself, finding home, finding center in who I am and how I am. It was like I came home. So here I am now. Somebody had told me when I was 30, you should do yoga. You would feel so much better in yoga. And somebody tells me I should do something, I'm very reluctant to do that should thing. But finally I was called to yoga just because I was getting older and not feeling so great, and the other things I tried weren't working so well for me. But I'm home in yoga. So balance is a key issue, I think, in my life and everybody's life. How I keep balance is that I try to do one thing at a time. And I think that's the definition of Zen. I've heard that once. Clearly we can only take one breath at a time, one thought at a time, so one thing at a time. And of course, every day I have a list of things to do. And I will say that every day I do not accomplish the whole of my list, but I've come to be more at peace, and the fact that my mind is bigger than the time allows. But finding balance, outward, inward, up, down, near, far, hot and cold, is certainly a challenge, but I feel that my life is well balanced by doing one thing and doing it wholeheartedly and with joy and with love, one thing at a time. So when I first moved to the city of Snohomish in the year 2000 full-time, bought property here earlier than that, but when I moved here full-time, there was yoga, a little yoga at a fitness center. There was a little yoga studio in Everett. And I had come from practicing yoga for 10 years in Seattle and come here. And I found a need for myself for a yoga studio, for a serene and sacred and healthy, wholesome place. So I created Yoga Circle Studio to provide that for myself, but also for the people around me. And over the 13 years that we've been here, we've had over 2,700 people come to this studio. At any one time, we usually have about 300 or 400 people that are really active at any one time. And some people will come and then we won't see them for 3 years and they'll come back again. But I would say that many of my dear friends are from this community. People who have made a commitment to this practice, a commitment to community service, a commitment to health and happiness. And I have a number of dear friends that come from this studio. And they continue to nurture me and I them. So International Yoga Day that happened in Snohomish, in the county of Snohomish at Willis Tucker's Park, I thought was a grand success. For first day, I would say over that day that about 500 people showed up. Some came and went, some came and went, some stayed a long time, some stayed a short time. But it was a grand celebration and wonderful yogis and teachers that came and meditators, and I also loved the food booths, and so we just had a grand time. And I think next year we'll get a little more press and the word will be out, and I think it will be a bigger and better day. But that day I enjoyed enormously. One breath at a time, one down dog at a time, one dear person at a time. I wish that everyone in the world would do yoga. And I do think that this International Yoga Day and Prime Minister Modi of India saying to the United Nations and getting the United Nations support that yoga is something that makes each individual a better person, and that each individual as part of their family and a part of their community makes the family and the community a better place. And so my message is that yoga is a beautiful practice, and we each express yoga in our lives differently, but it's a beautiful practice that supports us on our life journey for health, for wholeness, for finding who we truly are, and for expressing that in the world. So my hope is more yoga, more yoga, more yoga. 3 times the charm.